How can somebody reach out to you and suggest their project, their dream to become a part of your press? And what are the submission requirements? And what are
Yeah.
you looking for?
Yeah, so as a South Asian focused publishing house, we prioritize own voice authors and illustrators. Does that mean we won't take a not own voice author or illustrator? No, I think Amy is a really lovely example of that. But there has to be a really good reason for a lot of that. And so that is a good thing to know. Next, we do work in some ways as a traditional publishing house, and in that way is we expect submissions that are polished, refined. That means provide us with a cover letter, provide us with the manuscript, have
Query letter.
shop your query letter, have it shopped around, have edited it. I probably get 15 to 20 submissions a week easily. When one of our books is in the news, sometimes that will increase. And it always shocks me the number of people who haven't spent time learning my name, who incorrectly identify me as male. Just some of your basics, please have that. Past the own voices, I'm looking for stories that share the South Asian experience. I specifically identify our company like that because it's purposefully broad. The South Asian experience can be so many different things, and we're excited to share that story. So, does it have to be extraordinary and fantastical? It can be. Can it be mundane and everyday? Absolutely. We are looking to share the stories of the South Asian experience, however and whatever they might be.
And
Not
you are
mundane.
accepting unagented submissions, correct?
Let's not be mundane, though. We're not.
Well, Amy's like, as the senior editor, I don't want mundane. I mean mundane in their subject matter.
You mean every day?
Yeah.
Everyday subject matter. Real fiction is fine. Realistic fiction, fantasy is fine. The biggest thing is we want to see diversity, specifically something that celebrates South Asia. And we also want to see empowerment in the books. We want to see children being their own heroes as much as possible, I think. Sailaja, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's certainly about the piece of a child being the hero of their story, and how and where that's articulated can just be a little girl gaining confidence to go down the tallest slide in Hoboken. And it can also be about a little girl standing up in front of herself in front of a bully and being proud of her background and heritage. Both of those are books that exist in Mango and Marigold's canon, and they do showcase children being strong through themselves. And I think that's really important.
I think Steve's audience is hearing this and they're thinking, oh my gosh, 20 submissions a week, and you're only doing 20 books since 2014. But you, esteemed audience, are going to mention that you heard Sailaja and Amy on this very program, and that's going to put you right to the front of the list. You've got an N. You're going to be all right.
Possibly. Amy and Payal can tell you that my inbox is just a nightmare. Like my emails, it's rough.
But we do read the submissions, and we do talk.
I read every single one. Yeah. I read every single one, and I'm picky.
Well, when you go to make when you get that Rhea and the Blood of the Nectar, which is available in May, when you get a beautiful hot story like that you just must publish, do you both read it? What's the process like for approval?
So the interesting piece with Rhea, and so you're going to get the hot tip of this story. I think this is the first time these two guys know it, but they only recently learned it. So Payal submitted her manuscript to us about a year and a half ago now, June of last year, 2019. And we got it. And she was sort of like, listen, I know you don't do, at that time we were still Barth babies and we had no middle grade on our offering. And while I had been planning the brand change and our shift, nobody outside of the company knew that. And so she submitted it. And prior to submitting it, I had gone through about 2.5 years of pitching to investors, angels, grants, funding, all of these things. And I'd sort of been finally told no by a round of important investors. And they didn't just say no to the company. They were like, your business is not the type of business we ever fund because it has low returns. And I was like, cool. And so I had reached a point where I was considering just closing up shop. I was like, it's been 5 years. It's been a good round. You tried. And then Payal's book lands in our submission pile. And her letter is just very, she clearly did her homework. She read, she knew my name. And then I opened up the manuscript and I was like, wow, this is really good. Really like it, but I don't do middle grade. And then I sent it to Amy, and Amy was like, take it now. And I was like, but we don't do middle grade. And she was like, she's like, so? Like, what? So
now we do middle grade.
So now we do middle. Yeah. And I think that might have been what you said to me. You're like, so now we do middle grade. And I was like, so now we do middle grade. And so then we did middle grade. Like, that's just like, I read the book and I read it and I was like, this is a great book. I was like, and she's not going to get anywhere in the Big Five. Nobody at the Big Five is reading this. It is getting trashed. And I was like, but I want Ojo to read this. Ojo's my daughter. And I was like, and I want to read this. And I was like, I got to publish it. So that we had conversations. We went back and forth. I last year at this time was going through all of the change we needed to rebrand and change our company name and vision. And then shortly after, I think right before we announced the name change, we announced that Payal Doshi was joining our family. And it was because of her manuscripts that I think, we kept doing what we were doing. I decided to keep going on.